everyone, thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to be talking to you about a not so positive topic, but it is a serious one, and Halloween's coming up, so I find it pretty fitting. Today I'm going to be informing you guys about serial killers. What do they look like? What do they act like? Why do they do what they do? I find this topic very interesting and have done quite a bit of research about it, and I've seen several documentaries. Serial killers can be difficult to profile, have common motives and traits, and have infamous names in the US, a not so popular name being Ted Bundy. First, serial killers may be thought of as standouts among the crowd, but they are incredibly difficult to profile. Many serial killers appear to be what we would think of as normal, whether that be their appearance or their personality. Next, many serial killers seem to have the same motives when it comes to their murders. Finally, a lot of the world's infamous serial killers come from the US. Ted Bundy is the one who I'll be talking about today. When it comes to profiling a serial killer, it isn't a clean-cut thing. It can be very difficult, mainly because serial killers blend in with the crowd. They hide in plain sight. According to the FBI, serial murderers often have families and homes, are gainfully employed, and appear to be normal members of the community. Because many serial murders can blend in so effortlessly, they are often sometimes overlooked by the law enforcement and the public. Typically, serial killers are not standouts among the crowd. They don't appear as what we may consider loners or weirdos. They may often come off as friendly in the public. This can be a form of manipulation which may lead us to think, there's no way someone like this can do something so heinous. Many serial killers often have similar personality traits. Selfishness, lack of empathy, impulsiveness, and are all common traits among serial killers. They also tend to be known as charming. The FBI concluded that these traits and behaviors are consistent with the psychopathic personality disorder. The FBI also states that psychopathy is a personality disorder manifested in people who use a mixture of charm, manipulation, intimidation, and occasionally violence to control others in order to satisfy their own selfish needs. Motives of serial killers may differ, though there are a few common motives. The most common or recognized motive is out of lust or sexual satisfaction. According to the FBI, all serial murders are not sexually based. There are many other motivations for serial murders, including anger, thrill, financial gain, and attention seeking. Love, or specifically a broken heart, may also give serial killers the motives to kill. Anger and rage are also a big motivation for offenders. Even simply finding a thrill is enough for a serial killer to do what they do. Financial gain is also a motivation, but is not nearly as recognized or common. The motivation of a serial killer can be quite hard to figure out because it can vary depending on the offender and the victim. The childhood and the background of serial killers can, in a sense, cause serial killers to be serial killers. According to Kathy Carnes, the fractured identity syndrome theory suggests that traumatic events during childhood or adolescence fractures the personality of a serial killer and results in murderous behavior. The social process theory states that serial killers murder because of peer pressure and lack of family structure, identity, and friends. Substance or drug abuse also leads people to aggression and violence and can be a big contributor to why serial killers do the horrific things that they do. The infamous serial killer I'm going to be talking about today is Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy is recognized as one of, if not the most notorious serial killer of America. First, let me give a brief summary on the life of Ted Bundy before he led up to these terrible crimes. Ted Bundy's mother was a very religious woman. Ted was born out of wedlock to his mother, so she figured her reputation was too prestigious or too pure for this secret to become out, so she kept her pregnancy a secret. Ted was raised as the adopted child of his grandparents, believing that his own mother was his sister. Ted never felt like that he fit in, so he began to obsess over knives, theft, and voyeurism at an early age. Bundy finally fell in love at the University of Washington, where he met a young, attractive woman from California with long, dark hair. Ted saw this woman as the love of his life. She ended up breaking up with him and left him devastated. There are many speculations that his later victims resembled that of his ex-girlfriend, who he severely raped and beat to death. Ted appeared to that of many as a handsome young law student, not a serial killer. He was incredibly manipulative, selfish, impulsive, etc. According to David Von Drehl, Bundy viewed his whole life as a performance. Indeed, he saw the world as a sort of stage on which he acted out his appetites with other humans as disposable cast members. He put on an act in public to make it seem like he wasn't capable of such crimes, but he ultimately killed and raped over 30 women. According to Aaron Hulch, he was evaluated as a manipulative sociopath, gaining the public sympathies even after a guilty verdict. Ted Bundy was a manipulative serial killer who appeared as normal to other people, but was far from that. In conclusion, serial killers aren't as predictable as we may think. They aren't necessarily standouts among the crowd. Profiling a serial killer isn't an easy task. The traits and appearance of a serial killer can be considered as normal, especially in public as they may be putting on a show. The motives of serial killers range from lust to thrill and so on, and could have been triggered from their past. Ted Bundy is a notorious serial killer in the US and represents the manipulative nature behind serial killers. The motives, appearances, and traits of serial killers make it hard to profile but are adequately represented through Ted Bundy. Serial killers blend in the crowd. So how many serial killers have you actually walked by and didn't even